sui pacchi bomba contro I rappresentanti europei stamattina.
We'll go to line 6. Good morning, you're on TalkSport. Hi.
Your programme is absolutely rubbish.
Yes, I know. What can I do?
Absolutely rubbish tonight.
It's appalling. What can I do?
I don't know.
We need a format, don't we?
Pardon?
I say we need a format, dear.
Definitely. It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. What should we do?
Get somebody else to broadcast.
We need some better callers as well.
Yes, that's another thing. That Doncaster man, well, you should cut them off. That's all I can say.
I'll tell you what, though, to be honest, you're not much cop yourself.
Why?
Well, you're not, are you?
Well, I'm just saying it's rubbish, and you're agreeing with me.
I am, yes, but I'm saying it's the callers.
Thank you. What's on now? Just arguments and rubbish.
Oh, it's appalling. What can you do?
Don't put the callers through.
Well, then what? I mean, I haven't got a ukulele or anything. I'm here till 6. What can I do?
But it's nothing. It's nothing like it used to be.
No. Nothing is it really?
No, nothing is.
Nothing is.
No, I'm not listening anymore.
Good. Look at the bread, for example. That's rubbish now, isn't it? You can't get decent bread?
I don't eat bread.
What do you do with it then?
I don't buy it.
You have to eat it. You can't do anything else with it.
I don't buy it.
What are you saying? You sneak out with it?
I don't buy it. No.
That's illegal. Under your dress?
Pardon?
Just stick a loaf up your coat and run out.
I said I don't buy it.
Well, how do you get away with it then?
I don't eat it. I don't buy it. I mean, you're talking rubbish like all the others.
Well, I'm training to be on the air. That was fun. I enjoyed that. Good morning. You're on TalkSport.
Hi, Tommy.
Hello there.
Good morning. Right, I've thought long and hard about coming on the radio with this, but someone's got to say it. Right, Bible prophecy. I'm not a churchgoer, and I can't really call myself a Christian, but Bible prophecy has been stunningly and undeniably fulfilled exactly when it was supposed to. This is now the biblical year 6000, and if you give me a second, I can prove it, undeniably prove it as well.
Well, you'd have to caveat that with "in your own mind."
Okay, well, fine. Just I'll explain it. In the Bible, we're told about the astrological ages, the birth pains of the new age, end of the age. The last time when Jesus came, it was Pisces, fishes of men. And the astrological ages come every 2,000 years.
You're losing me. You're losing everybody here now.
Okay, I'll move on to the main point. What we're told to look out for is the rebirth of the nation of Israel. That's the fig tree. The nation of Israel, the symbol of it in the Bible is the fig tree. And when the fig tree flowers, then this generation will not pass. That's 70 years from 1948. There was no nation in the world in existence called Israel from 70 AD to 1948. Jesus said that in 78, he prophesied in 30 AD that in 70 AD the temple would be destroyed, the Israelites would be scattered amongst all the nations. Now, in Ezekiel 36, plenty of other places, it says that right at the end, I will gather you out of all the nations, I'm quoting now, from all the nations which persecuted you, and bring you back to the land that I gave your forefathers. That happened in 1948. He then goes on to say that this generation will not pass. And the Bible then says that it will be a unique century as well. That suddenly, in Isaiah, for a long time I've been silent, I've held myself back, that's Isaiah 42:14. In its time I will do this swiftly. It's all supposed to happen within a generation. Okay, right. Now the first three trumpets are warnings. The first three trumpets have blown. The last one blew in 1986, and it was Chernobyl, which was the worst man-made disaster ever.
Well, it wasn't actually. Look, hey, come on.
Okay, let me
You need to talk with more people outside your circle.
No, hold on a minute. I haven't got a circle.
No, hang on. You hold on a minute. You're in my circle now, So we'll talk, you know.
Wormwood is Chernobyl. It's a direct translation.
Chernobyl is, I don't know what you're...
Ukraine.
Yes.
In
Ukraine, it's not, well, look, just wait a minute. It's Chernobyl, can I just take you up on a point? You said
Can
you're
I
going
just
to prove...
tell you what it says?
No, not until we've established that you have to withdraw what you said because it was godless. Chernobyl was not the world's worst man-made disaster.
Well...
By any criteria you like, you name me one.
Okay, there's hundreds of thousands of people in Eastern and Middle Europe which have got cancer, which has been attributed to the Chernobyl disaster.
That's simply not true.
Well, I would say that it was the worst man-made disaster.
Maybe you would, but if you're saying it, then it's your opinion. Your opinion is clearly flawed.
I accept it's my opinion.
The conclusions that you draw need to be a little bit more precise.
Okay. Well,
and I can
it
think
doesn't actually say anyway that it was the worst man-made disaster.
Yeah, but I don't know
what
you tell me where this is going, and then we'll let you carry on, if you would.
Right, this is going all the way to something which will absolutely stun you, in my opinion.
No, it definitely won't.
Okay, well, let's just see.
You can disabuse yourself of that.
Right, Trumpet 3, 1986. This is all supposed to happen after the rebirth. It says that wormwood turns a third of the waters bitter. Many people died from the waters that had turned bitter.
Where's all this, anyway?
This is in Revelations 8:10. Now, wormwood is Chernobyl.
Who wrote that, then?
St. John wrote it in 97 AD, and Babylon is the symbolic enemy of the end time. Babylon wasn't in existence for 2,000 years when John wrote that. It's in code, and you have to...
I don't know where to go with this, chap. I really don't. I mean, what would you do if you were me? What would you do?
The Bible interprets itself.
Yeah.
Now, the prophecy for Trumpet 3, which is the last blowing of the trumpet, was...
What is this blowing of the trumpet which you keep on about?
Right, trumpets are warnings. If we're on an annihilistic course, we're sowing destruction for ourselves, we get warnings. We're clearly told trumpets are warnings. Now, Trumpet 3 says, Chernobyl turned a third of the waters bitter. Many people died from the waters that had turned bitter. Now, the interpretation for this is, according to the meaning of its name, wormwood falls into the rivers and mountains. It makes sweet water bitter and poisonous. The men who drink the water die. When many live without God, find the very source of ongoing life contaminated. When they have turned to wickedness, they have tampered with something much more profound
can I ask you a question?
than they have known.
What's your name?
Sorry?
What's your name?
Russell.
How old are you, Russell?
I'm 28.
Now, how long have you been working on all of this?
Right, I've been working on this probably for about a year.
Right. What do you do?
I'm a publisher.
Right.
I've got a publishing business.
I see. And what sort of books do you publish, if it's books?
Well, I used to publish business-related books and stuff, but, you know, I mean, that's all pretty humdrum and boring. If I can just explain this to you, the Bible tells us...
no.
There's a prophecy in the end time. There'll be a one-world economic system.
Forget it. If you don't mind me saying so.
Well, ask me a question, any question you like.
When did you last go out with a lady? Since you asked.
Went out with a lady probably about 3 days ago.
Did you? Wasn't that more fun than sitting up doing all this?
Not really.
Well, it should have been.
Not really, Tom. What's more important?
Well, it should have been.
What's more important?
You.
Pardon?
You're more important.
Well, that's very odd of you to say. I understand what you mean by that, but, you know, I mean, I'm not... If I can just explain, look...
because you sound... If you don't mind me saying so, you sound agitated.
I am agitated.
And that could be because you're nervous about...
I could tell you.
Well, I'm afraid you couldn't. Now, you can straight away disabuse yourself of that. Nothing really angers me quite so much as the arrogance of those who believe that
I'm not arrogant, Tommy. This is just you making things
Can I finish the sentence?
Yeah, sure.
The arrogance of those who believe that they can tell people things they don't know. That are somehow descended...
I'm not telling you anything...
Can I finish what I'm saying? Please, can I... Look, please, can we have a conversation?
Sure.
Will you stop interrupting me every third word?
Well,
otherwise, you won't know what it is I'm coming back to you with.
You don't interrupt me when I'm trying to say something. Be nice. But, yeah, carry on, sorry. Okay.
Are we going to have a conversation or not? All right. Now, first of all, can you stop being right up there in your own mind, telling people important things that they should know?
Yeah.
Because I have a horrible feeling. Unfortunately, that what you're really doing is talking about things that you hope will frighten people.
No, that's not true, you see. That is absolutely not true. You're not supposed to be frightened by this. It's exactly the opposite. There is a purpose, and it's absolutely provable.
Right, in that case, then, in that case, then, all right, you would have to make sure that you don't attach whatever it is you want to say to disasters.
Yeah, that's a fair comment. But I'm not saying anything for the future. I've just said what's past. Now that's a direct...
Can you then also concede that this is nothing that you can prove, that it actually makes rather tedious listening?
All right, well, let me just try this one on you. Right, at the end we're told that there's 4 nations. It says in Daniel 7:23, if anyone wants to write this down, they can look for themselves.
Oh, everybody get a pen.
All right.
Look, come on now, wake up here.
Whatever,
you're so missing. No, they won't. You're so missing. You are so far off the beam.
Really? Do you think the meaning
with humanity?
Do you really think the meaning of life is so little importance that, no one's going to be interested?
I think that nothing is more important than that. I have spent my life and more.
No, you haven't spent your life.
Will you
that's not
please,
true.
you mind,
you
please?
have not spent your life.
Will you please not interrupt me so crudely?
Right, can I just say this, please?
No, you cannot. You can carry on having a conversation with me. This is not a soapbox. You are not on a podium.
Okay,
you are not at a
let's have a
lectern.
conversation about this.
That's what I want to do. No, I want to have a conversation with you. I'm more interested in you than this rubbish you're coming out with.
Right. The barcode is split into 3 sections. Each section is represented by a 6. We're told in the end time there will be a one-world economic system.
Are you
the
world? Was all this about the flipping barcode statement
to be honest,
thing?
it was getting there. I was going to show you an awful lot of stuff, though.
You are drab. This is incredibly drab. This could not be...
Our self-indulgences are destroying the world.
Now,
in Mozambique,
yes.
It's all related to global warming.
Hang on a second. Now, I have a question for you now. And I'm going to make sure that you understand the question, and then we want to hear the quality of your answer. Okay. A few moments ago, I said to you, now don't interrupt me during this question. Wait until I tell you I've finished it.
Right.
All right? The question hangs on this proposition. A few moments ago, I said to you I had a suspicion that this was going to lead to things that would worry and frighten people.
Well, no,
would you stop it? No, please, excuse me.
What God is doing, he's trying to make us think we're destroying the world.
I can't believe this, man. Did you not agree to listen to the question before you said anything?
Go on.
Did you not agree to listen to the question before you started?
I did, Tommy, but I'm not trying to scare you. You can't keep throwing that at me. We've got to take responsibility for our actions. This happens to be set out. Anyone can find out the truth.
God. Look, I'm going to give you one more... Look, I'll tell you what I'll do. Because there's a lot of very well-meaning people who care about how people feel, who are lined up, who want to talk and assuage the fears of humanity using the micromedia of the radio. And I'm stuck with you. Now, if you're not prepared to do the deal, then I'm going to do something I rarely do, which is I'm going to have to kick you off.
All right, Tommy, I'm in a phone box. Sorry, I've only got 20p left. Carry on.
You're a very, very difficult person to deal with, and I can understand why you lose yourself in the Bible from time to time.
I don't lose yourself in them.
Yeah, you lose yourself in the Bible from time to time.
You're scared of it. You are scared of it.
Scared of the Bible? To hell with the Bible. How's that for scared? How's that for scared of the Bible? How's that for scared of the Bible?
In symbols.
Hell with the Bible. Hell with the Bible. Hell with the Bible. Is that scared of it? When I was a child... The teacher...
When you were a child, nothing. It's not for the eyes of children.
When I was a child, a teacher told me I'd go to hell because I dropped the Bible. She said, get the Bible down. You're destroying You're destroying
global
contentment.
Consumerism is the false system in the Bible. It is all over the world. The global barcode is all over the world. It tells us it destroys the world.
What this man's on about is that... I don't know if you know this. This is one of the most tedious little bits of trivia you will ever come across. Do you know about this one, Paul? Do you know about the barcode thing? Hang on, that's Paul.
I've never heard this before.
Oh, it's tragic, man. You know barcodes?
Yeah.
Apparently, each of the little lines on a barcode represents a number.
Yeah.
Okay, and the length and the width of the code represents the number. and the scanner can immediately pick up the numbers. All right. Every barcode has got a little thin double line at the beginning, a little thin double line that's identical in the middle, and a little thin double line at the end, all right, to show the beginning and the middle and the end of the barcode. Right. It happens that, and it was probably done with some wit actually, it happens that the little number, the number which is represented by the little line at the beginning, middle, and end, is the number 6.
Right.
So a couple of saddos fell on this and went, 666, the mark of the devil. And one or two people have fallen on this and run away with this and decided that the devil is out there and the devil is working his evil ways at Tesco's. And every time you buy something with a barcode, the devil is entering your home. And it, you know, if it wasn't such a valid representation of how lost people can get in what matters in life, then it wouldn't be worth anything. But the fact of the matter is, if you ask me, when you get someone like, are you still there? Or have you gone? No, he's gone. When you get someone like that, it's quite useful to see that there are people like this scaring the children with talk of floods and earthquakes and the end of the world, you know. And you just mustn't say this, not just to children, but to old people and middle-aged people and people like you and me. We just don't want to know this kind of doom and gloom. I find it really, really offensive. Be afraid, be very afraid. Yeah, but you know, where's the hope?
Hello?
Line 4, you're live on TalkSport. Good morning.
Is that me, Tommy?
It is you. Hi.
Oh, I'm a little bit annoyed at you there, to be honest, because I had a little bit more respect for you when you used to be on the afternoon programme. The thing is, not just you personally, but talk radio, talk sport presenters in general seem to, anybody mentions the Bible, they get shot down, you know, like as he did with the last bloke.
No, anybody who's boring gets made more interesting.
Well, I think
that's the gig.
James Whale, Mike Dickon, James J. Reeves, Ian Collins, every single one of them, as soon as somebody mentions anything from the Bible.
Okay, so link that to what I've just said, and what can you conclude? Unfortunately, too many people who depend on the Bible to be interesting aren't.
Well, can you explain something to me?
Well, I'll try.
Why is the Bible the best-selling book year in, year out since records began?
Because there are a lot of frightened people.
Yep. And you're one of them. You're burying your head in the sand.
No, I'm not.
Have you ever read the Bible?
Well, I didn't have much choice when I was little, did I?
I mean, have you ever read it properly? I don't mean if you ever had it shoved down your throat. I mean, have you ever read it?
Well, obviously, I mean, I've given it a go. Have you ever read the Quran?
I've never read the Quran. No,
Have you read Buddha's 4 Holy Truths? That doesn't take very long.
Well, I don't need to read these books.
What do you know about Hinduism?
I don't know an awful lot, no.
Do you know anything about Confucianism?
No, not much.
Do you know anything about Taoism?
Not much.
The Jewish faith?
A little bit about the Jewish faith.
Right. Why do you know more about the Bible than any of those other good books?
Because the Bible is, if you take the Old Testament and the New Testament...
Can I suggest that it might be the accident of your birth?
No, it wasn't. I was never interested in... I went to a Catholic school and was...
So if you'd been born in the Punjab, you'd still have gone looking for the one and only copy of the Bible in that province. I'm not convinced about that. I'm not convinced about that. And it is worth doing a sort of a comparison. 08700 40 50 60. So whoever this is now on line 2, good morning, you're on TalkSport.
Good morning, sir.
You're not a typical listener, are you?
I listen all the time.
But you're not a typical listener, because you're calling.
I beg your pardon?
You're not a typical listener. Oh, sorry, it's a semantic point. Carry on, say what you wanted to say.
Yeah, I've listened to this program for years. And I'd just like to say something, that there's one big mistake been made tonight. To say something once is maybe a mistake. to say it twice is not very palatable to my ears. But to say it 3 times, it comes under a special category in my world. And the world that I live in is not the world you live in. And the world that I live in tells me one thing. Never, ever, ever discredit either God or the Bible.
Why not?
And I tell you this, sir.
Well, no, wait a minute. Why not?
You will phone me in less than 6 weeks' time. You will ask who this person was, and I will tell you. Until then, I wish you good health and good living. But you will have reason to call me the person who is unlike you. Goodbye, sir.
Oh, boogeyman call. My God, the age you are, the number of people you must have frightened in your life. Away he goes. Somebody's granddad. 08700 40 50 60. Let's go to line 1. It's not going to be too sticky. Good morning, you're online. You're on TalkSport. You're not another boogeyman caller, are you?
No.
Oh.
I'm just Sam from Brunel University.
Brunel University?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
What is it with your audience tonight?
Fantastic, they're fantastic.
Fantastic. What was that last bloke on about?
Oh, it's great, man. All of human life is here. It's one flew over the cuckoo's nest. It's fantastic.
He's absolutely crazy.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? Gorgeous.
Well, basically,
you couldn't write it. You couldn't write it. If you wrote it and we got actors doing it, it wouldn't be the same. Wouldn't be as good.
Well, I have to be honest. This is the first time I've listened to it tonight because, well, I don't usually listen to talk radio, but I was a bit bored.
But you're not bored on this show, are you?
I know. I would have listened to it all the time now.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic, isn't it?
I just want to talk about football again. That last man and talk about Heskey or something.
Yes.
I'll phone you back in 6 weeks' time or something and give you his name.
He's very worried about going to heaven. And so he thought that he's got to do everything he can to make sure he goes to heaven. So if he hears somebody saying that the Bible is not all it's cracked up to be, right, because God's watching him, he'd better ring and terrify the person who said that. Otherwise, when he gets to pearly gates, God might say, now there was that occasion when you were listening to the radio and somebody said, forget the Bible, and you didn't frighten them. You see? So you're going to hell. That, I would guess, I would put forward is my summation of that gentleman's. I'd have the whoever the leader is after the first race starting at the back. Because overtaking is what it's all about. That's the skill, that's the art of it. It wasn't that long ago you would get ding-dong duels in racing, but there does seem to be a little bit of a procession these days. 08700 40 50 60. Let's go to line 2 and say, good morning, you're on TalkSport. Hello.
Hello?
Hello there.
Yes, I am the man who wants to go to heaven, as you said.
Can you turn your radio off? It's confusing.
I'm sorry.
Not at all.
I'm the man who you were just talking about who wanted to go to heaven.
Oh, you're back, are you?
Yes, sir.
You can try.
Back. I am back only to make a statement which I made before, which was misread. My words to you were exactly that when you speak of God or the Bible, speaking once, it's very bad.
Oh, don't go through all that again.
No,
just tell us what you mean in plain English.
In plain English, I said to you that you said to hell with the Bible 3 times. And I consult people. I'm an old man. I have been to temples all over the world. I have learned much from fakirs, monks, etc. And I tell you this, son, I am not like you or any of your listeners. And people come from far and wide from my advice.
Shall we have a conversation then? Because you're just sounding like any old boring preacher to me.
Okay.
Let's have a conversation then, shall we?
Have a conversation, yes.
All right, then. What do you think of Shambhala?
Shambhala, it's, to me, it's nothing.
No. What about the works of Krishnamurti?
You're talking technical.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about the people that you say you're well read in.
No, I didn't say I was well read in anything, son.
You just said you'd been to lots of temples.
Yeah, I've been to temples in China. Niching Lai Tai Tai, Hayo Minti and Su.
Okay, what religion's that?
That religion is from the Buddha.
Buddhist? Which sort of Buddhism?
Just plain Buddhism and Chinese Buddhism is all the same.
No Shiran Shoshu Buddhism or Hinayana Buddhism or Mahayana Buddhism? Higher Mahayana Buddhism or lower Mahayana Buddhism?
Buddhism is one. One.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Well, it is at the purest, but remind us of the Four Holy Truths and the Eightfold Path, which is all that Buddha actually wrote in his lifetime. Remind us of that. Hello?
Do you think I'm a red man?
I think you don't know very much, but you like to create the impression that you do.
Well, let me just tell you one thing, son.
Son?
Yes, son. I can call you son.
I'm a lot older than you are, son.
I don't think so.
I know so.
I've been in 2 wars, 2 earthquakes, and 2 killings.
I bet you got some good war stories.
I have, yes.
Yes,
but
I thought you would have.
That's not the story.
I've been here.
My story is...
many times. And my story is others' story.
To take...
And the 4... Would you like to know what the 4 Holy Truths are?
I only know the one Holy Truth.
What is that?
The one Holy Truth is that all of things on earth are substantiated by only one person. And that person is a God far greater than any, and all are subject to this one. And I tell you something, I would not give. I never went to school. I went all over the world, but I never went to school. But I tell you this, I wouldn't change 1 crumb of my wisdom for 1 tableful of your knowledge.
No. What wisdom have you got?
I have the wisdom of foresight, insight. I do many things for people.
But why does it sound so unfriendly coming from you?
It's not unfriendly.
Well, why does it sound so unfriendly? Why does it sound so combative?
Maybe because I have had combats.
Maybe
I've seen too much. I have seen many, many hundreds and thousands of people.
Maybe you have, but your wisdom, for what it's worth, appears to sound rather aggressive.
Wisdom is always aggressive.
Oh, don't be so silly.
Yes.
Don't be so silly.
How did Solomon find the flower in the temple?
Wisdom isn't aggressive, old son. And you've got a long way to go if you think that it is. Truth and love, remember, those are the only things that matter. Truth and love, not aggression, not combat. Truth and love.
How do you think you find those things?
Well, you keep looking. You keep working on it. The art is to think that you never know enough. That's the beginning. And actually that's the end, because you never do know enough. 08700 40 50 60. Line 2, you're live. Here we go. Excellent. The musical phone person. The sort of phone-in equivalent of SOS, this, I think. Yeah. You know, when you listen to a person on the phone, on a phone-in program, you get a picture of who they are. You can't avoid doing it. We were talking about this the other day. Similarly, with someone who does something like that, you get a picture, don't you, of a slightly anemic youth. I've got a boy aged about 18 here, 19, lying on a ruffled bed, sort of Chatterton-like, and lost lost for something to say and yet desperately wanting to be noticed, which is how it is for all of us when we're 18. Various slogans from religious people and from atheists, who in a sense are just as religious people. The only thing to be is agnostic. I'll tell you why. Because you simply don't know enough to be certain about God, and you simply don't know enough to be certain there isn't a God. You can only be agnostic if you've got 2 brain cells and half a heart.
Because during the summer months, when it's hot and stuffy, there's so much pollution in the air.
No, there isn't.
There is.
You've been watching John Craven's news round too much.
Nothing to do with John Craven.
Yes, you have. They're always on about pollution there. They're just trying to frighten the children.
If you live in the city areas, like Leicester, where there's no coastal breeze like there is in Portsmouth, there is a build-up of pollution, and something's got to be done about it.
No, nothing needs to be done about it. It's all right.
No, I don't think that's right.
It is. You're not a scientist. I'm a scientist.
You're not a scientist.
I am a scientist. I'm a trained environmental technician.
No,
and I'm here to tell you that actually pollution is quite good for you.
I think as a radio presenter, you should be presenting more on healthy living and putting that more across.
Oh, people are fed up with being told what to do by bods on the media. I'm absolutely sick and tired of Carol Vorderman being paid a fortune to tell you what sort of butter substitute to use because it's got 14% cholesterol. You know, I'm fed up with being ordered around by these bods on the radio and on television. Oh, everywhere you twist and turn, it's Anne Robinson admonishing you about this and doing that and a few more sit-ups and cut down on this and a bit more of that and you shouldn't be doing this and don't use your car and walk and all the rest of it. It's flipping Nazi Germany.
But should they not be doing more on...
No.
No,
lighten up.
You're not listening to me. More on park and ride. Not so much.
No, not interested.
Why?
Why? 'Cause it doesn't make any difference to how happy...
It makes a difference.
Doesn't make any difference to how happy you are.
No, that's wrong.
If it makes any difference to you, then that's sad.
Yes, but it's wrong.
Gandhi walked everywhere. He wouldn't even use the official cars they gave him when he was in Lancashire. He walked.
So would you walk miles with a video recorder or if you brought a computer? No, you wouldn't. So you're looking for
Yes, I would.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
So you got...
How do you know I wouldn't?
You got this heavy object in your hand.
Yuri Geller?
And you're prepared to walk miles with...
Absolutely, of course I am.
Well, I don't believe that.
I was a paratrooper. Oh, that's funny, is it? I can do 40 miles with 7 pounds on my back, or is it the other way round?
Yeah, years ago, baby. Perhaps not no more.
Do you have any idea how heavy a Lee Enfield is? I wish I had a Lee Enfield sometimes.
You're not going to get into this one, are you?
No. I'm not interested in public transport as an issue, but thank you very much indeed for your call. I'm not interested in anything as an issue. It's ludicrous issues. The only issue is yourself. Half of us are so flipping confused and sometimes teetering on depression, you know, but to start getting worried about the rainforest and public transport and park and ride, go mad. Line 6, you're live on TalkSport. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hi. Turn your radio off, it'll be a bit easier.
I'm sorry.
Not at all.
The gentleman, I spoke to him not long ago, and I just wanted to verify one thing before I gave him the little small thing I wanted to tell him. He said he was older than I.
Is this you again?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
You're having a bit of fun here, aren't you?
No, I just wrote some wisdom down to send a few words to you and your many millions of listeners who some will appreciate and perhaps some will benefit from them. But when you said you was older than I, are you more than 75?
Many, many years older.
Oh, I'm sorry. You don't sound older than that. That's the truth. You sound very young. You sound about maybe 54. That's what you sound like.
A lot older than that.
Oh, well, bless you.
Thank you.
Can I just say these words of wisdom?
No.
It's a cry.
I said no.
Oh, yes, you can.
No, I said no.
It's about a friend
I was
of
just
yours.
testing you whether you said you asked me, and I said no.
Well, I don't think that's very fair.
Well, I do.
Well, I don't think so, sir.
Well, I wouldn't march into your home and start spouting words of wisdom on the arrogant assumption that I had something to say, so why should you
No, but you shouldn't have the arrogant wisdom of thinking that you know what other people want to listen to, and I'm sure
Well, I'm terribly sorry, but I don't know what your profession was when you had one, if you had one.
A soldier.
Yes, well, in that case, you know an awful lot more about killing people than I do, and I wouldn't tell you how to kill people because you know more about it than I do. However, I know more about what people want to hear than you do. Fair deal? Fair deal? Fair dues?
I think one person
Reasonable? Is that reasonable?
I think one person came on and said he would like to hear more.
I don't think you heard that.
I heard something similar, and I don't need to hear the words.
I'm sorry. The general consensus is...
we only speak about what you want to listen to.
Well, you've been on 3 times. I think you probably said more than I have this evening.
No, I haven't said more than you. I've made a little bit more sense than you, but you won't realise it or you won't recognise it. All I wanted to say was a word about the devil, that's all.
Not interested.
Well, it's a toast.
It's a toast?
Yeah.
Still not interested.
Toast to the devil, we'll toast him in smoke. And though I am smiling, this isn't a joke. For where there is smoke, a fire you will find. And the one in your lungs is extremely unkind. For this is a killer by doctors, I'm told. So stop now this smoking or never grow old. I give you this warning and hope you take heed. For this, what you're smoking's the devil's own weed.
Actually, the problem with this is that your assumption is that death is something to be afraid of.
Afraid? Afraid? I've seen more death than you could ever dream of.
So why warn people against it?
I warn people because they have a chance to avoid it.
But why should they want to avoid it? Why should people want to avoid death?
Why?
Yes.
People 40 and 50 dying of these different things through smoking?
Why is that a bad thing?
You don't think it's a bad thing that people should die young?
If you've thought it through, why is it a bad thing to die?
Dying isn't a bad thing, but the time you die can be bad.
True enough, but we're all going to go through something.
Yes, but you must have a life before you die, otherwise you haven't lived. I've been dead, literally, almost 3 times in my life, and I've come through it every time.
See, everywhere you go, I don't know if you are wise, but at least you're trying to be wise, and that's more than most do. But I would say this, everywhere we go, all we're told from the very earliest is that we must at all costs avoid death. Any report...
Well, that's survival.
Hang on a second. Try and keep, try and see what I'm saying.
I listen.
Otherwise it's,
I listen to you.
Yeah, good. Do I listen to you? Right. Everywhere we go, from the very earliest memory of life, and it's a terrible shock to discover that there's death when you're small, and we don't really get helped terribly much. It's a very private discovery, and quite shocking, and so we quickly change the subject, and we don't think about it very much until we get quite old. Everywhere we go, we're told, one way or another, that death is something to be afraid of, that it is something to be avoided, and that it is something to be feared. And I sometimes wonder whether we give that impression all too often, and that is one of the reasons why so many people are confused and in despair, because we assume that the last thing that ever happens to all of us, every single one of us, is something that we're going to regret. 08700 40 50 60.
Necessarily, they're missing out on those things. Do you agree?
Not with your baseline, no. No, not with your baseline.
What do you mean by my baseline?
Your baseline is that death is to be feared, to be avoided.
Well, no,
and
not living longer.
And that's self-destructive because there's no point going in fear and trepidation of something which is inevitable, and for all you know is welcome.
But is there any point in inhaling tar into your lungs and taking 20 years off your life when you could not inhale tar into your lungs and have 20 years of the wonderful little things in life that you celebrate?
Well, hang on. You've jumped a bit. You skipped a few pages here. You've gone on to smoking, and we're talking about... What I'm talking about is the constant repetitive message of casual observers everywhere.
I've never been told to fear death.
That death is... Yes, you have.
I have not.
Of course you have.
By who?
By
whom?
By whom? It depends how alert you are.
I'm very alert, Tommy.
Well, I don't think you are if you're not aware of all the subliminal, semi-conscious messages that you're receiving at all times about why death is a problem.
Well, if I'm not alert, then isn't that good for me?
Yes, it's better to be dumb. You're right. Much better. Much, much better. I wish I was thick.
You wish you were thick?
I really do.
I don't think so.
I really do. Let's go back to death. Every time you get a news report, somebody's died, the inference that is that it's tragic for them. But is it?
Well, if a 10-year-old dies, is that tragic?
Do you know that it is?
Well, because they could have lived to 60 and
But do you know that they're not better off where they are?
Well, in some cases they might be, but generally speaking...
So exactly. So why aren't we given that option when we're young, that possibly death is to be welcomed?
But it's not to be welcomed.
Okie dokie, blokey. Now, hang on to what you've just said. An absolute dogmatic statement based on nothing but ignorance, because you simply do not know what you profess to be certain about. You can only say, I suppose.
Okay, Tommy.
Or it is my guess, and the reason you suppose it is because you have been pumped full of that information subliminally and semi-consciously, just as I said you had, and just as you said you hadn't.
Tommy, let me ask you a straightforward...
Do you concede that? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I see what you're saying, but let me ask you a
So are you alert, then, if you're not aware of that? Because it took me 40 years to realise this.
Yes, I am.
You are now?
Yes.
But you weren't before?
Let me ask you a hypothetical...
Well, this has been a very valuable conversation for you.
Let me ask you a hypothetical question. If you're given the...
Can I give you a tip?
Go on.
Just do it. Stop asking, can I tell you this? Can I ask you that? Just do it. It saves time.
Okay. Say you are given the straightforward choice. It doesn't matter how. You're given the straightforward choice. You can die in 10 minutes or 10 years. Which are you going to take?
That isn't the point.
It is the point.
No, it is not the point, because I don't have that choice and nobody does.
You could.
Who has ever had that choice?
Somebody could burst into your studio with a gun and say, right, I'll shoot you in 10 minutes or in 10 years. Which do you take?
Who has ever had that choice?
It's not. It's hypothetical.
It's ludicrous.
Yes, but it's hypothetical.
It's ludicrous.
But it could happen.
It's irrelevant. It never has and it never will. So put it to one side. Let's deal with the truth. Let's deal with facts. Let's deal with certainties. The absolute certainty is that you, unconsciously, have been hypnotized into the certainty that death is to be feared, and you will live all your life in that shadow, and yet it may not be true.
But it's never on my mind.
Liar.
It's not.
You know that it is.